Hi everybody, and welcome to the 33rd episode of Voice of Silence. Today we have with us Lakshika Vaid. She's a self-proclaimed techie turned yogi or yogini, and she'll of course tell you much more about herself, but I would like to introduce her a little bit from my end. From a student's perspective, I've been her student and she's a fantastic yoga instructor. More than that, the little bit that I know about yoga is that it is not just about asanas and kriyas. Yoga is all about centering of the mind, body and soul. And if you attend her class, which a lot of us do, you will notice how effortlessly she will teach you or move into some other pose, or even the way she will talk, instruct, and her body language. That's what piqued my curiosity, and which is why she's our next speaker, because there must have been a lot of work done in the background to achieve that. And that is why she's here. And on that note, can we please, with a round of applause, welcome Lakshika. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Lakshika. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Thanks a lot to this wonderfully, beautifully, sexy, hot woman sitting next to me today. So I admire you in all the aspects. You've always been an inspiration. I think that's the power of social media. What we see and what inspires us, we try to imbibe in our lives, and that's how we move forward and we all heal. So here I am today presenting the voice of I, me and myself. So when I say these three words, I, me and myself, I want to just set the context right. What does it exactly mean? Okay, it's not that I'm a self-obsessed person. It means that when we are going through our childhood, when we are living our life, we get so influenced by people in our life, by thoughts, by society, by parents, by your spouses, by your friends, that you lose yourself. You lose your own voice and you don't even realize it, because that happens in such a way that you don't even realize that, So this is about a journey of finding your own voice in the chaos. In all the voices that surround you, how do you find your own voice and how do you actually acknowledge that and take it forward from there? It's about that.
That's exactly what it is. Although I hope it was not misunderstood, because obviously that's what it's all about today. Like she said, it's about self-discovery. And I think everything begins with the self, and the more we realize it, accept it and acknowledge it, is when we can actually even begin to start to do anything or even think to do anything for other people. That's
absolutely.
I mean, we came first from the womb of our mothers. We were not carrying our friends, right? So obviously we look after ourselves first. And really nobody better today than Lakshika to maybe share her story, and maybe we could learn a little bit from, or take away something from her. So on that note, let me begin as always a little bit about your childhood, your family structure, so that we get a context of where you're coming from, please.
So I come from an absolutely perfect family. So a family in which, health is given the first priority. Everyone would be eating healthy, propagating health. Parents would always, as kids, push us to outdoors, live in the nature, play outside, do the stuff, and try new things, everything perfect. Spending time with us, because they were into government jobs, they had enough time to balance their families. They had no social life other than us, the kids. So, like a perfect nuclear, close-knit family, how it is like, that's how it was for me.
So, mom, dad, and brother.
So, mom, dad, and brother. Yeah.
Okay. So, when you were growing up, I mean, all of us, we tend to think that, and it's true, parents do, provide the best to the children. But what we tend to forget is that parents also have a story behind that, And as kids, we tend to view their stories differently. Did something like that happen with you as well? I mean, do you remember anything you'd like to share?
Absolutely. I think that's bang on. So, we don't know what stories our parents are carrying, right? Unless we understand that. So, my father, when he was 15, he lost his parents. He had 3 sisters. So, as the male of the family, whatever, that time would call it, he felt himself responsible for growing them up, for educating them, for bringing them to good marriages and all that. So doing all that, having lost the parents and there's no support from anyone else, he took up jobs in the day, he was studying in the evening. So very difficult life I think he's seen. And through this life, all the three sisters and the brother, my father, they emerged as very successful people. They had great positions in government and they led a very good life. But I think through the process, what happened is that he, my father, he's no more now. I just hope he's listening to me. So through the process, he got very overprotective about everything, you know. So what as a child I couldn't see because I didn't know his story then. So, you know, because bringing up three sisters, getting them married, getting them to study in that time, of his time, you know, this how many years back? So I'm 40 now, so that would be a lot. How many years back? 67.
Don't ask me to your math, and especially not on national on YouTube. Please don't do this. Let's move on. Let's move past the.
I didn't want to do it, so I asked you. So I'm an engineer, by the way. You know, my maths is very bad. So continuing from there, so he got into the sense of overprotectiveness. You know, being more caring and more that he will do everything for everyone. You know, so that came to me. You know, to my mother, to my brother, that he's handling everything. He wants to do everything for you. Like, you know, want to get something, oh, I'll get it for you. Enter the kitchen, oh, I'll make it for you. So, a lot of care and a lot of protection happening in every sphere. So, that is about it. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And so now tell me, obviously this must have been all in the hindsight, not in the present that time. Now when you look back in hindsight and let's say you were, let's say from the ages of 5 to say 10, you know, how were you viewing this? How? Maybe vis-a-vis your friends or whatever we know about our parents, एक image होता है. So how are you viewing this overprotectiveness?
So as I said, as a child, I had no clue about what he's gone through in the past and why is he behaving in a certain way. Though all positive, it may seem like, but it had a little not so positive implications on our relationships because I always felt, you know, trapped, not being led to do anything on my own, you know, not getting independent and stuff like that. And then my mother, I think, had a journey of herself because my father was deeply attached with the sisters, you know. So when someone is attached to the sisters to that level that they have been a parent to them,
yeah.
So then it's very hard to let go anything. So he had a lot of impact in their families, in my family. The sisters had a lot of impact in my family. So my mother could just not settle into that scenario. And there was always some tussle between my mother and my father. And something, you know, it was this lack of love, which I saw. It had a reason definitely, but as a child I didn't see that because I had no clue why it is happening in a certain way.
It's great that she's made that point because I feel that all of us, all without exception, they're human beings, you know, and especially marriage, especially India, where a woman leaves her house and goes into, another person's family. We're humans, yeah. We expect, like, I expect so much from my husband. It's been 10 years and it's दूसरा पति है मेरा. मतलब अभी भी I'm expecting मुझे ये चाहिए. And it's tough to understand where he's coming from. It is tough because at the end of the day, thinking about yourself, your family, your child, itna zyada everybody can't be a saint that no, it's all good. So, I mean, I can imagine your mother's perspective where your father was maybe looking after his sisters because he had no choice. And in fact, it's amazing that he did. But then sisters also may not be looking from your mother's perspective, that we can let them be.
All that mess, yes.
Yeah. And which I can relate with this.
And as a child, for me, I started hating my father for all this because I would
better.
see my mother in a state where she's not happy and, you know, and all this tussle is happening due to a person which is not in the family. So I would, you know, that actually affected a lot my relationship with my dad, you know, went down the road because of this.
I'm sure. I think all of us have experienced a little bit of this. We have to really grow up and be mature and sensible to understand the nuances of relationships and not just the surface feeling that we are getting. And a child to be expected to do that is insane. You can't expect a child to do that. I don't
I
think
had
anybody
no
expected.
visibility, no clue about what is the background to this.
Yeah.
And as a child, I could only see unhappiness between my parents. That's it.
So tell me something now. Let's move to school and academics. Was there any pressure on you by your parents to leave this that, or were you putting pressure on yourself? Was there any pressure in the first place? And that is an assumption. I'm sorry, because we belong to. I just put this in here. We, at least the ones who are between 35 to 45 and above, not lower than 35. We belong to parents who came from a place of scarcity. India was had just gotten independent to a place where parents were starting to get comfortable in their skin. But scarcity was the main theme, whereas we today live in a world of abundance. So for us, for me, my child's future in that sense, academically is not so much of a pressure in my head as maybe for my parents it was. That was the assumption. Was it the same case with you, or would it do something else?
Yeah, so as I said, my parents being super responsible, very caring towards the family, and put me into the best school in the city. I was in Sacred Heart.
You in Chandigarh?
Chandigarh. This is Chandigarh. So you're in the best school, but you belong to a middle class family where the parents are both are working hard to meet the ends and give you a comfortable life that you want. So when you enter the school, everyone is coming in those big cars and you come on a scooter. So I had that, growing up, had that feeling of inferiority complex, which was never addressed because my parents, in their head, was like, they've done their job, they've put me in the best school and they're paying the fees for it, and they're giving me the best education possible. And that's what a parent can actually think of, right? But the mindset that goes in a child's brain, that seeing my friends getting stuff and doing things and not inviting me to their parties and things like that, where the parity comes in terms of the financial startup. Yeah,
it does. We are kids. I think all of us mothers here, we know, we're seeing it with our children, that you can't expect them to understand the layering of relationships. Or like if my child wants to, let's say, go to XYZ country, usko main nahi samjha pa rahi hu that baby, right now it may not be priority. He'll just think, yeah, you're saying no and my friends go, and that's what he'll carry, which is why later on, wherever you went will help our audience today.
Yeah.
So, what I'm trying to say is that it's a very valid feeling for all kids.
As a child, you don't understand all this.
They're valid feeling. All feelings are valid. So let's move to a little more. I think a lot of women who associate with this, I do freely, is that there were instances of some sexual molestations that came across your way. And again, I think all of us, all Indian women, relate with it. I'm not trivializing it. What I'm saying is we relate with it. If you would, whatever you're comfortable sharing, Lakshika, please do.
So I'll take a little one step back here, going back to my school.
Yeah.
So I was coming to your point after that. So back in school, early years, from nursery to 5th, I was the worst student in my class. Academically, I was like 50 percentile. And because my father wouldn't want to give me any stress, so he would just say, he would just take my book, he would say, ye pad lo, ye pad lo, ye pad lo, aur jao, aish karo. So that way he used to teach me, and not realizing that, okay, I am happy by not studying. But there, when I go to school, I don't have a reputation, so as to say. Like, every child has a reputation in school, how the teachers look at you, how your peers look at you. So I was, again, very underconfident because of that. So in 5th, now I distinctly remember I had a PTM and my mother came with me to the PTM. Usse pehle my father was handling everything, my school things. My mother was not. So 5th mein my mother decided to come, okay. And then she met the teacher and she was surprised. The teacher is saying, "Kaisi ladki hai, kuch padhti nahi hai, masti karti rehti hai, idhar chatting, udhar chatting," stuff like that. She's a chatterbox and this and that. And my mother was like blown away. Like, I've put my daughter in the best school, I want to give her the best education, and what is happening? This is definitely not as per the plan. So she decided that, let me take charge of her education now. And then she started getting involved in teaching me. And I was a bright child. And that's why I think the underconfidence, because I was a bright child. I was not confident in not performing. I was confident in performing because I deserved it, because I was good. So then when my mom took charge of it and the journey began from there, I started performing, and then 7th, 8th, 80%, 90%. I was like, it's not about marks. It's about
growth.
It's about growth.
Achievement.
It's about
Achievement.
It's about I don't have the right word.
It's that.
It's about acknowledging your own strengths.
Yes.
And just living up to them. Yeah. So, and that's how the journey began. But somewhere down the line, I still felt that there is some underconfident me still sitting, like child healing, which had not happened. You know, that underconfident me was still carrying along. Coming to the actual question now is about the sexual molestation. So I haven't spoken about this to anyone. I think I opened last in the lockdown to my mother and to my husband in a conversation, in a heated conversation. I just opened up and I just blurted everything out. So that's how it came out. And till the time it had not come out at all because of so many things like we spoke about. So my father, as being overprotective and everything, so even the relatives were not allowed to come to our place when they are not around. So that level of protection we had, कि कुछ गलत नहीं होना चाहिए. That he had that bent of mind that, you know, things happen, people do things to you. So he made sure that nothing would happen, but still it happened to me, from distant family, from neighbors, from you go to a temple, someone is touching you in a weird way, you know, you go to your brother's daycare and things are happening to you there. You know, sometimes something happened twice or thrice, sometimes it was just a one-off thing, but it was as close as someone is touching their parts on you, you know, and you as a child are clueless about it because you are hardly what, 10 years old or 8 years old, and in that time we had no visibility to things like this. We had no awareness of things like this. There was nothing called good touch, bad touch. We were not spoken to, you know, about it. We were not taught about it. So it was, so my parents, again, we had a very open conversation for sure, but nothing about this. We would talk our hearts out about what we want to do in life and what we love to eat and where we want to go and what we want to do, but nothing about this. So, so all this happened and was happening with me. The pain is not, it happened to me. I think it happens to so many of us. The pain is that I couldn't speak up about it to my parents and take charge and have confidence to deal with it. You know, so it kept undermining my self-respect. It kept undermining my confidence. It brought so much shame into me and guilt into me, which I carried for so long in my life. So that's the pain, you know, that's the problem.
Here's where we'll take a moment, because I can speak on every woman's behalf right now, at least in my country, that we've been touched or exploited or assaulted or molested in a way that brings shame to us. And I want to, as a person who has a background in a little bit of psychology, I really want to get deep into this, that why do we feel ashamed? It angers me so much now that even, by the way, I share a lot of this, that for later, but a lot of sexual molestations in my life as well from people that I've known, and then you feel like you, there are two people then that stay. One is the injured, terribly pained, in excruciating pain person that stays inside, which she's talking about. And then there is a person that emerges who is, for the lack of a better word, pretending, because she or he, not he, she is going to now survive, you know, and misconstrued, like by everybody, will be misconstrued, which is why I took this time out, this moment. Understand this, that's why she's here, and that's why we judge women. You know, we judge women, we don't know that they are possibly, you know, wearing a shield around them in whatever way, whatever color, whatever density of the steel could be, to protect themselves. To protect. Why? Because there's a story behind them. And that is why I thank Lakshika from the bottom of my heart to come here and openly talk about this. And then how did she deal? So yeah, please go ahead, Lakshika. Thank you for sharing that, number one.
It's not easy,
yeah,
but
it's not easy.
I think you have to say when you have to say,
Yes,
and
yes,
only
absolutely.
then the healing begins actually. So having said all this, I think when you said
that question, my next question, so I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what do you think? What do you think your views are? That because you said to me that, you know, Kanika, I was, although all this happened and it was not my fault, but I was very scared to tell my mother. I have experienced that, although I did tell my mother and she took a solid, there was a teacher we had got removed from the school. My mother, who's sitting here, she got that done for me. But that was one instance. There are few that she doesn't know. But you tell me, why does this happen? Do you have any insight
yeah,
into this?
absolutely, because that time definitely as a child had no insight to why I can't share it. I just couldn't share it. I was scared to share it. But now that I have an insight and I can understand things better, I have a clarity on what went, how it went. What I feel is strongly is that as a parent, you will always tell your child good things. You know, you will never tell your child that bullshit happens to you. It will happen to you. Be prepared for it. Yeah. And it's okay if bullshit happens to you. Yeah. It's okay. Learn from it, move on, fight it, whatever. But bullshit happens to you. Yeah. We are taught that bullshit can never happen to you. You are absolutely, you know, protected and safe. And you have to be a role model in your family. Like you have to carry a certain image and character. You have to carry a certain amount of values, certain level of dignity. And when you feel all these things surrounding you so deeply around you, then you can't even talk about something like this. Yeah. Because you feel so shameful and guilty conscious of yourself that, oh, this thing happened to me, there is something wrong with me. Yeah. You know, so you start questioning your own abilities and you start questioning your own behaviors around people, that you feel that you did something wrong because this is not supposed to happen to you. Why did it happen to you to begin with? You know, there is something wrong in you.
It's a very big burden to carry, which all women in this country carry. I know it now. थोड़ा authority भी आ गया है क्योंकि मेरे पन्ने भरे हुए हैं stories के साथ. And I know this, and we need to break this, you know, in some way, one by one. So let's move with the word burden or that complex or whatever you want to call it, and let's move to college now. You were carrying that, obviously that time you were not aware. Can you take us through the journey of college then, and even you can now speak from college all the way till you got married and your first job. How were you dealing? What was happening?
So this child who started studying then, thanks to my mother, I went to engineering college, finished my engineering. And I pursued engineering. We are going to college still. So I finished my school, I pursue my engineering, and when I enter college, this child is underconfident. This child has gone through all the molestations. This child has seen lack of love, but a lot of responsibility for sure in the family. So all this took me to my college life. Yeah. So as I enter my college, it was a turning point in my life because it gave me a showcase and it just turned my life around in some aspects. Because coming from a very good school, I did not enter a very good college. So I don't want to demean the college, but for me, it was the best thing that could have happened to me. Because when I entered the college, I was like Andho mein Kana Raja, the best in the lot. And that gave me, that actually, whatever underconfident things had happened to me in school, now pulled me up to the stage. Like I was in the limelight. I was on the stage, you know. And every now and then I was anchoring, I was comparing events, I was doing presentations. I was there. And it gave me that confidence to pull up whatever I'd lost. And to some extent, I had achieved that. But I was overdoing that because I think that over the need of validating it to myself that I'm good, I'm good. You know, I was overdoing everything. I felt that, but I was still enjoying it because it was much better than what I had gone through in school. Yeah. So that happened in college.
It's such a natural progression, no?
Then, but one thing we missed actually, which happened to me when I was a child in school. So there was a lot of comment from my relatives on my looks.
आपके looks?
Yeah. So I look in a certain way.
इनके looks पे?
So
तो फिर हम लोग कहाँ जाएं?
I look in a certain way that you have chinky eyes and whatever that so your features are not as sharp as they should be, and all this conversation used to happen in the family. My parents used to always support me only, but somewhere as a teen or as a growing up child, these things affect you, what people talk about you
a lot,
right? Because you want to look good, you want to present yourself in the best way possible. So this again stayed with me when I entered college. So the need for validation came then, and looking for compliments from people, especially the opposite sex, the boys, and all that came in with a strong urge that you want that attention, you want that validation, and it came. It did come without efforts, it came. But and then you didn't take it like casually, you took it very happily.
Seriously, yeah.
Oh wow, that you are good, you're good looking, and someone is giving you importance. So all that validation then made you take some wrong decisions about relationships in life.
Yeah.
That the first guy who proposed to you, you say yes to him without thinking whether this is actually you want to do or you want to be in that relationship or not.
In my case, for the validation, sorry, just a quick digression, आप तो ये कह रहे हो. My need for validation was so strong, I went and proposed to a guy at 12. Of course, he used to look a little bit like Shah Rukh Khan also. I was like,
Shah Rukh Khan.
I like you, let's start seeing each other. 12. That was my need of validation, itna zyada. So I get what you're saying. Please carry on.
So then began like a series of in a relationship, you are in a relationship and you are not really happy, but you're there because you feel that you don't deserve it. Somewhere deep down, that validation, and that someone is there and you're still not happy with it. How can you not be happy with it? He's your boyfriend. Always
you push your emotions.
Self-doubt.
Yeah.
Self-doubt. Because there was no confidence, right? There was no confidence from where I was coming from. But then I think the 4 years, I had a breakup in 6 months. And but the 4 years that I spent in my engineering college, I think the best time of my life, because that gave me a lot of confidence. It gave me that center stage and actually made me realize my own strengths. So what I was made up of. So that came to light from there. From there, then I went to my job, and I enjoyed my job. My first job was in Bangalore with Accenture. I got married then. That's my husband there. So, so marriage was another turning point for me, because that's when the freedom came in. Being with my father, as I said, overprotective, and that there was no independence to do. Like he didn't even let me drive, because he thought that it's not that I'm a girl and I can't drive. It's that it's not safe. She might get hurt. That overprotective and caringness of my father. And the moment I got married, take the keys, go learn how to drive, So that's how it was for me when I got married. So that again gave me one more edge to my whatever I was missing, that independence and that confidence building happened again after marriage, So thanks to him for helping me out with all that. He was doing it in his natural way, but he didn't realize that it was helping me. So that's how I think I recovered from so many of my,
demons
or things that I felt that underconfident about.
Knots, you started to free the knots.
Yes,
basically.
yes. So driving was just an example, going to other things, bigger things in life, like doing your thing and choosing your clothes, doing your thing, eating what you want, whatever. It's like everything that you do comes with the independence that you always, I think everyone needs that independence, right?
I think that's the सबसे मतलब before we even like speak about gender and all that, मुझे लगता है सबसे पहले तो वो right होता है of just being independent. I would say, let's say the
being yourself.
Freedom, and then the independence after the freedom to do whatever we want to.
Yeah.
And we are not stupid. People, I think the world, I feel, works on fear. कि यार ज़्यादा इंडिपेंडेंस फ्रीडम दे दिया तो ये तो लगता है सबको मर्डर करने चलेंगे. I mean, get over
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I think as humans, we are good. Why don't people have this belief that if you throw people with freedom, they will not do bad, they will do
Yeah.
good, because
Yeah.
we are born like that. Nahin, dar ke rehna. And girls need to be protected. I think that's a very passe, old, outdated concept that people need to
Yeah.
really let go of. You know, even myself, by the way, I of late have realized how I'm also a product of that. Somebody protect me. Adi, I need protection. Then I'm like, rehne de. So now you've gotten married, you're working. What urged you to move from a work environment to take up yoga?
So before we go there, sorry, one thing I just want to finish is that, so though I was in the marriage, though I recovered from so many things one by one, I was recovering step by step. But there was one big thing which was still not recovered, was lack of love, you know, which I felt because I had not seen it to be, you know.
You're saying lack of love from your side?
No, from my, like when I was growing up, I
Yeah.
didn't see it in my
Yeah.
family, right? So like love was there in the form of responsibility. Like everything will be perfect for you. You will have everything ready, but there was no love of unconditional love of acceptance and you know between the parents and all that. So that didn't come to me. So then I became a person who was a little dry on love, but full 100 on 100 on responsibility. So now when I see my relationships, when I see my son, when I see my husband, when I see even my relationship with my parents, you ask me what they need and I'm there to do everything for them as a responsible wife, a mother, child. But love, I have a question mark there because I don't even understand that feeling till now. I will tell you how I understood that feeling. So 14 years of marriage, I think he's been dealing with it. I very rarely tell him that I love him. It's a big statement, but that's how it has been for me. And I can't just put a magic wand and change that, you know, because I don't know how to experience love from others. So that's how it
That's
has
such
been.
a huge statement. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Thank you for. I think this is a moment where we can, because we all know. I just related with something. This is not easy. Yeah. It's not easy. For anybody to say this, and you know, to the person who's actually, for the lack of a better term, please don't misunderstand and don't get offended with anybody. What I'm trying to say is Abhinav. I've met Abhinav and lets you be. Abhi, please, the women na don't start. No, he is supposed to let her be. वो बात की बात है. He is letting you be. We let each other be. I could be gay and be with a woman. And if I'm letting her be, तो वहाँ तो feminism नहीं आएगा. So वो side पे रख देते हैं. Somebody letting you be. And in that, you, after so many years, accepting and saying, you know what, I love you, but I was just questioning love.
I've never understood that emotion
love.
to that level because I've not seen that.
It, and God
Not
knows
that my
what-
parents don't love me, they do.
Exactly.
But as a couple, I
the
think I've not.
expression,
Yeah.
hai na? And I don't know, I will probably speak to Abhinav sometime later, but how did he take it and how did he feel? But for you to say it is a very big thing, Lakshika. So thank you for that. Please go ahead. Go ahead.
So this,
So the marriage is going on, and that is, I had asked you about the college to the, leaving office, leaving your
Yeah, yeah,
job,
yeah. Okay.
moving to yoga.
yeah. So how did I first meet love?
That's such a beautiful statement.
So,
Such a lovely statement.
Yeah. So how did I first meet love is when yoga entered my life. So yoga to everyone, like she said, is asana practice, is like, okay, let's get fit, let's get physically fit, mentally fit, okay, you know, let's exercise, weight loss, all that. But I think my understanding of yoga is, I've spent 10 years with yoga now. So my understanding of yoga is entirely different. Before I talk about yoga, I'll just say how it entered my life. So I was 10 years into my corporate life. I was working with Accenture and IBM. I was a SAP consultant. My job was globally. I used to travel. I used to have calls 12 in the night, 6 in the morning, because I was handling Singapore and I was handling US and Australia and everything. So I had my son then, he was 3 years old. And having all this, battling all this was not easy. Though I was very health conscious, I used to go to the gym, but my mental health went for a toss. I was not able to handle my stress, my anxiety, my work, my family, in spite of helps in the house. It was a mess. That's when I took a call. I didn't tell anyone, not my husband, not my mother, not anyone. I left my job. You know, I took that bold decision in spite of the fact that I knew that the salary is not going to come in my account from the next month.
Yeah.
But I took that call because I think I started to see that it is affecting my health, and I will just go down the road from there. I started developing a thing called IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. So whenever you feel stress, you just go and you excrete all the undigested food out. So that's what I faced for 6 months in my life. And then I took that call of just going and leaving that job.
Possibly the best
Because
decision.
that was giving a lot of stress to me. I was not enjoying handling all this together. So obviously as a mother, I would not leave my child and my husband. Job was the easiest thing to leave, so I did that. But I think again, the best thing that I could have done to myself, that's when I started yoga to heal myself. Usse pehle yoga, who does yoga? My parents are doing Kapalbhati and Bhastrika, and I'm saying, how funny are you looking? Why are you even doing that? You know, there was no understanding of what is it about and what is it all about. And that's when I started it, I started researching and learning about it, and the wonders it did to me is, I mean, I will talk about it now and you will see what all changes it brought to me. But so yoga is not asana, it's not physical, mental practice. It shows you a mirror, you know. It shows you that mirror to see to see into your naked body, to see into your naked soul, to see your naked thoughts and feelings without any filters. You know, we put filters. Nahi, aise nahi. No, let's put some makeup. Or, okay, let's wear a shaper, body shaper. Wo sab nahi, no filters, no add-ons to it. It shows you your naked body, your naked mind. It shows your naked heart, what you are. And it shows that to you in your face. क्योंकि हम सब तो denial में जीते हैं. We live in denial. We don't even realize what we are.
Yeah.
You know, until the longest time in our lives, we don't know what we are. But it shows you what you are. The goods, the bads, the shames, the guilts, the inspirations, everything it will show you. So that's when I met myself. That's when the love began. That's when first time in my life I experienced love. And I can't tell you, that feeling is so blissful, as if I was in nirvana, you know, as if, I think people say that the most unconditional love is towards a parent to a child, or, you know, I feel it's to yourself. And when you hit that, when you hit that chord with yourself, I can't tell you how blissful, and that is meditation, that is nirvana, and that is what you want to actually achieve in life.
So
and that solves everything, all the knots everywhere open up. You get clarity, it just opens you up from everywhere, you know.
That's the effortless, that was the effortless bit I was talking about. And Lakshika, you said such a hard hitting yet simple, basic truth. I met myself, that's when I met love.
Absolutely.
It's that simple. Love is us, is inside, because you met your core, you met the source, which we all are actually, you know, one source with different bodies, different mindsets. You went and met that. I relate with it because it didn't come through yoga, but past few months now I've been in very deep therapy called Inner Child Workshop, which I will talk about whenever. But I get what you're saying, because I think something similar is happening with me also right now. Moving along, when that happened, what was the first few things that happened with you in terms of relationships and your relationship with yourself? Could you forgive and move on? Could you forget and move on? Or is it like you hold it but it doesn't affect you? What happens?
So as I said, voice of I, me and myself, again quoting that again here, is that I don't feel that anything else affects me now. Nothing else affects me now. It's just me and my opinion of myself and how I see myself affects me. So no anger towards my father, no anger towards people who molested me, no anger towards the relatives who didn't feel that I look good enough for them. So or whatever mean friends I had in life, whatever I went through in life, I have no anger. Even if I see a person who molested me, probably I will shake hands and say, how are you?
Yeah, I relate to
I
that.
have no anger, and I think it's just because that healing has happened, you know, and because that self-love is so strong. It is so strong that I can't express it in words. It's like, there's a thing that I tell each of my students also, that, you know, take a full-size mirror.
You don't need that, Dave.
Put it in your bedroom or in your whichever space you want to. Get naked, look at that mirror. See your body, see yourself, talk to yourself. I do that every day. No one knows about it.
Teacher, one second. Teacher taught me that. Teacher taught me this 1 week ago, and I do have a mirror. And I have, ek hota hai, okay, women. I have cellulite here, okay. I might be losing weight, but the cellulite is there on my ass. So then when I went and stood, I was like, नहीं करने का, नीचे मत जाओ, नजर नीचे मत करो तुम. लेकिन when I saw, and then she said, Kanika, look at yourself. When you look, then you'll not run away from the physicality of whatever you want. And why not? Why not? Then you're working so hard on yourself. छुपा के क्यों रखा है ये? क्यों? It helped, dude. So thank you.
So when you see yourself, you know what happens
It helps.
What happens is it will tell you, okay, this is wrong, and you don't like it. Suppose I'm fat from my hips. Suppose there's cellulite. Suppose my hair is not looking great. You will work on it now.
Yes.
Why not will you work on it? You love yourself.
Yeah.
Why will you abuse yourself by eating that burger or a pizza? We will get to that in a bit. But because the love for self is so strong that you will be ready to work on yourself. Not just your physical body, but your emotional and mental state also. You will not let anyone abuse you emotionally and mentally also. Because your peace of mind, the health of your body, mind and soul is paramount for you then. You learn how to prioritize.
Yes.
You know, that's what comes when you see yourself in that mirror. So do that.
I completely agree, and to this I would like to add that there are a lot of time before that. Everybody who's watching, ये हमारा काम नहीं है कि 40 साल में जाके हम योगा करके सेल्फ हीलिंग करेंगे. To all the men there, that does not mean that you're still allowed to touch us badly. You please correct yourselves, okay? Just in case you're getting like a free thumbs up that, oh, women will now go and heal themselves and deal with themselves. No, it's still a no, and please don't. This is in no way trying to tell anybody that, you know, whatever you guys do, and I'm actually addressing men, and there is anger. So yeah, if it's visible, it is, because don't touch unnecessarily, and that's not your place. And don't enter people's spaces or places unnecessarily. But moving along to what she was saying, because that's your personal journey. I mean, that topic is a different topic altogether. Do you think sometimes because I get this a lot, Kanika, why are you so hard on yourself? They're not understanding. भैया hard नहीं हूँ, सबसे ज़्यादा प्यार कर रही हूँ मैं अपने आप से. Do you get that? Do you get this?
No.
You don't get this? Then I need to learn from you.
No.
But I get this a lot. I'm actually looking after myself with all the love in my heart. I love doing whatever I do. But I get this. Don't be so hard on yourself. You've never got this? Then okay, great. I will need to learn from you. What else would you like to
They
add?
want me to get hard on myself. But I love myself so much that
Maybe
I don't
doesn't-
care.
Yeah. Maybe I still do. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So now we move to the final section of this. This was about you. Now we are talking about, now I'll bring you to voice of silence, and you said your voice is voice of I, me, myself. What is your voice of silence in that you would like to relay to people who are listening to you? Maybe women who've gone through similar things, women who maybe are a little conscious about the way they look, the way they are, what they are doing in their lives, men for that matter. What would you like to say? Considering a person you've traveled the journey, you've taken that journey and come to a certain place. With that, what would you like to say?
So taking a step back to yoga, from where I will put across this thought also. So as I said, it was a transformation for me. When I saw myself in the mirror, I loved myself so much that I didn't want to abuse myself emotionally, mentally and physically. That's when the journey began. And that journey began in all aspects of my life. You know, I saw myself then. Usse pehle, what I used to do is every week I used to go and shop because I want to emotionally satisfy myself. Oh, I bought so much stuff. Oh, yes, I have everything now. I will look good, you know. Then I will go and have a pizza every weekend or some food that because I am a foodie and I love food and that will satisfy my emotional needs. Okay. So all these clarities came with yoga, that when I started loving myself so much is that I don't need emotional satisfaction from the food that I'm eating. I don't need it from the clothes or the material that I'm buying and stuffing in my house. You know, I need it from myself and my inner growth and my inner journey. So investing in my experiences became my priority, and growing myself, you know, as a person became my priority. So self growth became my priority. I still go out and party with friends. I still eat that pizza and burger. I still enjoy shopping, but only when it is needed and when it is helping me gain a good experience around that. Not a compulsion that, oh, I'm bored, you know, I need something to charge me up. It's not that. I don't shop to feel good emotionally. I don't eat to feel good emotionally. Whenever I eat like whenever I feel like having a chocolate, I go and have it, but I'm so mindful and conscious that, okay, I ate a chocolate and I have to stop in 2 bites because it's not going great to my body. So I have to understand that, because the love for my body is more than the love for my tongue or that temperament which is going through right now. Okay. So that's what I'm just trying to say, is that the voice of silence here would be, we should stop living in denial of our own self. You know, no one is stopping you from enjoying life. No one wants to do that. Why would you not enjoy it? Life is meant to enjoy. That burger is meant to be eaten. That chocolate is meant to be eaten. And that sari is meant to be worn and flaunted. This beautiful piece of jewelry is meant to be worn and flaunted, right? But doing all this with a conscious mind, with awareness of what you're doing and why you're doing it. You know, not just mindlessly eating burgers every weekend and you don't know what's happening and you have no idea how it's working with you, you know. Eat that burger, be mindful and conscious about what it's doing to you. And then a bit about parenting here, because that has been a major thing in my life. So when we talk to her, like I have a 12-year-old now. So when you talk to your child, you definitely set expectations. Okay, you have to be good, chori nahi karna hai, jhoot nahi bolna hai, all that is great. But sit and understand the child's emotions. Yeah. He might be going through bullying in school. He might be, you know, going through something about his looks. Someone said something, he might be going through that. Every child has that, you know. We don't realize it because probably we are talking to them in a very superficial way. खाना खा लिया, okay. सो जाओ, पढ़ाई कर ली, okay. खेल लो, क्या, what do you want to do, what do you want to go, where do you want to eat, all that is good. But उसके अंदर भी जाना पड़ेगा. Emotions को touch करना पड़ेगा, समझना पड़ेगा what your child is going through every day. You know, understand if emotionally, mentally there is some miss. Pick that up with the child, because that communication channel should be open. Under the sun, like my son should talk to me everything. Yeah. He wants to go and hitch with a girl, he should be able to come and tell me. He's entering his teens now, you know, or because he might be hitting puberty very soon. So all the changes that go through your body, sexually you feel something, or about your looks you feel something, whatever you feel, I think he should be the first one to come to me and talk to me about that. Yeah. You know, I'll be the most happiest to hear that and maybe, you know, talk to him about that. So all these things. Yeah. And then do not create that persona of perfection. No one is perfect. And why do you want to be? Perfection is boring. Why do you want to be perfect? Yeah. We are humans.
differentiates us.
We are a sum of our flaws. We are a sum of our different nuances that we carry. Each one of us carries some nuances, and we should be able to appreciate that. First of all, accept that, then appreciate that, and then if you want to work on it, yes, do work on it. Now, if you want to change yourself, work on it. Who's stopping you from that? So, I think that's what sums it.
Thank you so much, Lakshika. Thank you. I think this was amazing, the need of the hour. And I think a final sentence I would like to take away from what she said is, and I've always felt it, which is why I was a misfit from my growing up age, that I'm very emotional. But here's a statement, a final statement from me for Lakshika's episode is that we are moving from a working world to an emotional world. So please catch up. It's time. And thank you. That's a wrap, Pratik. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone. We are done. We can all chit chat and it's all good.